Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Happy Monday.
Jonathan Voitko.
Hello, hello, hello.
But most importantly, on this Monday, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show a part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics, and then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. If you send it on in during the show, we'll get around to it on the second part of the show. But here's the good news about the link. It's good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to the show later in the day on our podcast feed, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you to everybody who subscribes to our podcast, by the way. Or if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day when we're not live, you can still send in a question and use this tip link, and we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that down, we got a hell of a lot of stuff to cover, including my favorite movie news story of all time. But we'll get to that later in the show. For now, let's start off with this. Marvel's What If Season 3 has dropped their first, I don't know if it's their first, maybe it's their first trailer, but I don't know. They've dropped their new trailer for What If Season 3. Now, just so you guys know, and for those of you who've watched the show for a long time, I'm not a huge What If fan. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I find it kind of pointless. Like in comics, what if stories are great because you can really flesh them out and they can go deep and all that kind of stuff. I kind of find the Marvel's what if things kind of just pointless. The animated one, I just found it mostly pointless. Some of the episodes are really great, like the zombie episode, the Doctor Strange episode in season 1, for example. I think some of them are really quite good. You know what I think my favorite one is? The one where like Hank Pym is killing all the Avengers. Like it's like in DC. You know why Batman is so feared? Because he's the smartest guy in the room. Mm-hmm. Always be worried about the smartest guy in the room. He'll find a way to screw you up. Anyway, but overall, I'm not a huge fan. New trailer dropped this morning for season 3. I gotta say it looks pretty good. It looks pretty damn good. Let me talk about a couple things that I really liked about it. Number one, I love that it looks like we're getting Darcy.
Oh, I know.
In it.
Right here with Howard the Duck.
And she's with Howard the Duck. I honestly think, like, you know how when WandaVision came out, we all said they should absolutely be doing, and I forget the characters' names now, but Randall Park and Darcy, their characters together on an X-Files style Marvel show. I thought that was a huge missed opportunity that they didn't dive into that. But I've always loved her character ever since the first Thor movie. So it's really good to see her in there. Also, guys, elephant in the room. Storm. The first X-Men character to actually show up in this. And for her to also be the god or goddess of thunder, holding Mjolnir. Very appropriate, but that was very cool. And I love the voice. That is very Storm voice. Mm-hmm. I am Storm. I thought that was awesome. A lot of really cool looking shots in it. I gotta say, I thought it was pretty damn good. I thought it was a good trailer.
You know what? I liked season 1. I skipped over season 2. I just kind of like put it on pause. And now I watch this trailer and I agree. I'm like, you know what? I got to go back and watch season 2 because this looks pretty good.
It does look good. Can I mention something I really didn't like? The whole Avenger Assemble.
Yeah, it's a little like, okay.
Okay, first of all, like one of my my biggest pet peeve about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that it's the Marvel fake death universe. That's always been my biggest peeve. But my second big peeve with the MCU is that everybody's Iron Man now. Everybody has an Iron Man suit, right? Spider-Man has an Iron Man suit. Iron Man has an Iron Man suit. War Machine has an Iron Man suit. The Dora Milaje now have Iron Man suits.
They're going to strengthen Hulk and give him one.
At some point, yeah. I mean, Banner had an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So they do this shot where everybody's got Iron Man suits. Okay. And then they're Voltron?
Everyone's in an Iron Man suit. The same one.
Yeah, and then suddenly they become a Megazord.
And it has Voltron? A Captain America shield.
I think that's what the I think is the positives about this animated series. They get to explore things like
No, they can get silly.
They can do whatever they want. Yeah.
and like, you know what, the Iron Man suits are like the way of war in the MCU right now. It's kind of like what people use in order to fight each other.
They're as common as a jet fighter now.
I mean but the variations that they show in this teaser look cool to me. I mean, I'm a robot guy all the way. Anything that has robots, I love. I mean, the trailer looks excellent. I've always loved the animation style of this series.
I did too. That really stood out to me.
I'll say that I think, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the show, I do like the animation style.
And I too, like Jonathan, never watched or hadn't watched season 2. It's one of those things where Disney Plus series are just...
I thought it was very forgettable. I thought it was a very forgettable
Yeah, and I just don't remember a lot of Disney Plus. I don't open that app very much. But this does look good. The Storm entrance was epic. It was almost Thor-like to me. Like, you know, and like her gear, the gear she had on was more MCU fitting. I mean, I'll probably watch this. We'll see.
By the way, so I was mentioning all the people. Somebody in the live chat also mentioned Pepper. Yeah, Bruce Lum in the live chat. Pepper has an Iron Man suit. Everybody's got Iron Man suits now. It's now the Marvel Iron Man suit universe.
You wouldn't take one if someone brought you an Iron Man suit.
Of course I would. Of
course we would.
But if somebody offered you a green power ring of the Green Lanterns, would you take? Well, of course I would.
No, because everyone has one, so forget it.
I'm just saying, it's like why like the whole thing's got everybody's, and now of course Ironheart is coming. Ironheart has everything's now just an Iron Man suit.
I didn't like.
Punisher will be in a suit.
Punisher would have an Iron Man suit.
I didn't like when the Dora Milaje got one. It was like they were so special and powerful on their own. But whatever. Yeah,
but still, I gotta say, as somebody who's not like, again, I don't dislike the What If series, but I'm not the biggest fan.
This is the final season.
Yeah, this will be the final season because not as many people watch it as people think they do, but I'm gonna watch this season. I think the trailer looked really good, so I'm excited to see it. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about the trailer for What If Season 3? As somebody who's not the biggest fan, I thought the trailer was great, and I'm actually kind of interested in watching the season now. What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's jump into this. Everybody knows in film school, day one, the thing they teach you is when you put out a movie trailer, have at least 7 shots of your main hero running.
Yes.
And Mission Impossible took that lesson very seriously because the new trailer for Mission Impossible 8, aka Mission Impossible, the Final Reckoning.
Keep running. Oh, it's Final Reckoning. Yeah.
Mission Impossible, Keep Running has dropped. Now, of course, you guys know that the horribly titled Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, they changed their name a while ago. Remember when it came out on home video, they changed the name. Some people noticed, wait a minute, they dropped the Part 1 part.
Right.
And it just said Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. And now we know why. Because now we have Mission Impossible, not Dead Reckoning Part 2. We have Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Now, of course, this is better naming conventions. You should never name your first movie of anything Part 1 because it tells the audience, don't come see it yet. Wait till the second part comes out, you know, sort of thing. So at any rate, new trailer comes out. And there are things I love about it and things that I didn't like all that much about it. First of all, let me just say, I really like Dead Reckoning. Like, I was really bummed out that it didn't do nearly as well at the box office as it should have. And I'm sure that part of that had to do with the delays. I'm sure part of that had to do with the titling. I'm sure part of that, anyway, whatever. But I really liked the movie. I don't think it's the best Mission Impossible movie, but I thought it was really quite good. And a couple of jaw in my lap kind of moments. Oh my God, they killed her. Like, sort of thing. Right? Love the movie. Excited about Part 2. It really does feel like this is now, because remember when Ghost Protocol was supposed to be like Tom Cruise's swan song? That was going to be it. And then they were going to hand off the series, and then that never really happened. This really does feel like this is going to be the last Mission Impossible movie. Like everything from the title, Final Reckoning. And did you notice in the trailer, there was a bunch of callbacks to previous?
Right.
Including, like, correct me, wasn't that the rabbit's foot from Mission Impossible 3? And that one scene that he's holding, are they bringing all that into it now too? And then, of course, he says at the end, trust me
One last time,
One
yeah.
last time.
Well, and also Kittredge was like, everything you've done has led you to this point.
Yep.
So that over those images. So yeah, I agree.
And now why am I freezing on her name? The actress. She's
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett, now president? Right?
I kind of wish I watched all the Mission Impossible movies because none of the callbacks in this trailer.
I'm too behind.
Anything. My first movie was.
They are old. Some of them were very old callbacks.
My first movie was this last one. So, but I really had a good time. I really liked it. I can't wait to see this one. I may not get all the references from the past movies, but Tom Cruise is there. He's going to do something crazy.
There'll be exposition.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we saw it, like, even in the trailer. He's literally on the outside of a biplane, holding on as it's doing rotations, and he's, like, hanging off of a plane.
No,
and you know that's not CGI. That's him doing it.
They filmed that a while ago because it seems like those are the two planes where he had that special video before they showed the
Yeah,
trailer.
you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Because he was just standing on top of it. So they actually did something. with
Yeah.
For
it.
those of you who don't know what Ray's talking about, just before Dead Reckoning Part 1 at the
That's
time
always the case,
came out, there was a little promo video like at CinemaCon that they showed us. And then I think they released it online as well.
Yeah, they
of
did.
Tom Cruise just talking about, thank you for watching Dead Reckoning Part
Yeah.
1. And then the camera pans back and he's literally sitting or standing on top of an in-flight airplane.
And then it goes straight down.
and then dives down.
Oh my
and that's the plane that's in the
Yeah.
shot, I believe.
Yeah.
So clearly that was back from when they were filming it. I think look, two things I didn't like about the trailer, to be honest. Didn't like the music choice. The music didn't feel epic. Do you remember that one Mission Impossible movie? I think it was the one before Dead Reckoning, where they had that song from Imagine Dragons.
All right.
I think it's called "Can't Fight the System," or the friction or system, whatever it's called. And it's like, "Can't fight the friction." I
think that was the one
I
with
think the
Henry Cavill
music
in it.
drops, and it's just this heart, chest pumping music, and all. And this was very kind of. I felt like this was a royalty-free track they bought off of MusicScore.com or something.
Can I ask the audience a favor? Please, when rewatch this trailer, close your eyes. When the music is playing, in your best Optimus Prime voice, say, "I am Optimus Prime."
Ray did that while we were watching it.
And tell me it doesn't sound like a Transformer.
Yeah,
Michael
I
Bay
didn't
song.
even think about it until Ray did it. Ray's watching the trailer, and all of a sudden he just goes, "I am Optimus Prime." I'm like, holy crap, that is what the music sounds like.
The perfect Transformer song, actually.
Anyway, then the other thing I didn't like so much, and maybe they did it on purpose as a joke, but there were like 5 shots of just Tom Cruise doing his Tom Cruise run, right? It's like, okay, we get it.
He's a fit guy.
And then they did it again, and then they did it again, and then they did it again. Now, of course, that's a big joke about Tom Cruise movies, right? You always got to have the Tom Cruise running scene. So I don't know if that was kind of like a wink to the audience that they put it in like over and over and over and over again, but it started feeling silly, but whatever.
One last question. For those who've seen the previous movies, how much of this trailer was shots from previous movies? And
A little bit,
Okay.
but most of it seems like is
Okay,
original footage.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the new trailer for Mission Impossible 8, aka Mission Impossible Final Reckoning? I liked it overall very much. I'm excited to see it. I love the last one. I can't wait to see it. Do you think this will be the last one, as they're kind of hinting in the trailers? I mean, Tom Cruise is in his 60s now. But I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Arguably the greatest show that Disney Plus has had on the Marvel side, it's WandaVision. On the Star Wars side, that's easy. Andor. Andor is probably the best thing of anything that Star Wars has done in 30 years. It was just like, I was hoping it would be good because I like Rogue One and I really like Tony Gilroy. So I was hoping it would be good, although I'm not that big on prequel stories. And this is again this is a prequel to Rogue One and whatever. Okay. I could not believe how good Andor was. Like, and it was nominated for Best Drama Series at the Emmys. Huge accomplishment for this series, and it's great. But we've been waiting. When are we getting Andor season 2? And now we know, as they have announced, that Andor season 2 will debut on Disney Plus in April of 2025. And it's being structured in a really cool way that we kind of heard about before, but this is what they write on the wrap. The second season of Star Wars prequel series Andor will debut on Disney Plus on April 22nd, 2025. The show covers the time period that leads up to the events of the movie Rogue One. So this is the final season, set just before Star Wars Episode 4: New Hope. Season 2 will cover a period of 4 years across 12 episodes. Thank you for no 8-episode nonsense. The episodes will be split into 3-episode arcs, and that will each cover a handful of days from each year. So, there's going to be one story that's a 3-episode arc that takes place in a year, like over the course of a couple of days that represents 1 year. Then they're going to jump time to the following year and another 3-episode story. Then they're going to jump another year to another 3-episode story, and then jump the final year to a 3-episode story, which will lead us directly into the events of Rogue One. Very interesting way of handling it, and very different from how they did season 1. Diego Luna is just incredible. And the side characters as well. That's one of the great things about Andor. All the secondary characters were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They were all incredible. I was drawn into every single one of their stories. Every single one of them had fantastic individual stories going on that tied into the overall story. It's just brilliant storytelling, the show overall. You know, I always used to, if you guys remember, I used to define when I was watching Andor, I'm like, this is Star Wars for grown-ups. Not to suggest that other Star Wars is for kids. Other Star Wars is for everybody, right? All the other Star Wars is very family-oriented, very family-friendly for that kids and adults alike can love. But I remember when we were watching Andor, I said, this doesn't feel like a Disney Plus show. What did I say? I said, it feels like an HBO Max show.
Yeah.
Right.
This feels like it comes from the network that does The Sopranos more than it feels like the network that gave us, I don't know, Obi-Wan. Right? It was a very different show done with a very different approach, but I absolutely loved it. I'm like this, and I'm not saying all Star Wars should be like that. Not at all. I'm not saying that at all. I like having other, like the more traditional kind of Star Wars as well. Absolutely. But I love that they had this tone as well.
What?
And the quality level of it was literally best TV show at the Emmys worthy. It was amazing.
What I like about this Star Wars is if you can't get off the sand, the Tatooines, the whatever, at least give us a different perspective. And I think that's what Skeleton Crew is going to do. The view from like kids like living in that universe, and also the return of Ben Mendelsohn in this is we're getting.
And that's one of the big exciting things.
And
Ben
Alan
Mendelsohn
Tudyk
as director Krennic.
Yeah. So we
and
got that.
Finally getting Alan Tudyk in.
Yep.
With what's the name of the droid? K2SO.
Yep.
Which I love, because I remember I was at D23 when they announced Andor, and they had Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk come out on stage together to announce the series. But then it was mentioned that Alan Tudyk wasn't going to be in season 1. I love that character, even though we know what happens to him, unfortunately. Anyway, now we've got a date. What is it now? November, December, January, February, March, April. 5 months.
I know, it's pretty close. This coming up spring.
5 months. I mean, I was
Everybody
kind of
release.
hoping we would get it by the end of 2024, but whatever.
Everybody release their stuff before GTA 6 comes out. That's all I got to
That's everybody's
say.
racing against. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Andor now has a release date in April of 2025, about 5 months away. So we still got a little ways to wait, but hey, at least now we know it's coming. What do you guys think about that? Did you watch the show? Not everybody did. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? In the never-ending depressing cycle known as Rey's life waiting for Blade. Oh, there's been a lot of Blade drama. All of it bad. This delay and that delay and another delay. Directors coming, directors going, writers coming, writers going, new directors coming, new directors going, and new writers coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. And here we are, 5 years after the fact of when they announced Mahershala Ali is going to be Blade. We don't still have a script. And just recently, they took it off the release schedule. Remember, it was scheduled to come out in November of 2025 after it was scheduled to come out in 2023. That got delayed. Then they said November 2025, that's when it's coming out. We started to suspect it was never going to make that date. And sure enough, Disney pulled it off the date, leading many people, including me, starting to speculate that this movie isn't going to happen at all. At some point, you just got to pull the plug on it, right? And that's what we figured was coming. But not so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Feige has just doubled down, insisting a Blade movie is coming. This comes from the folks over at Screen Rant who wrote the following. Mahershala Ali's Blade has hit several roadblocks on its way to theaters, leaving many fans to question, like myself, when the Marvel Cinematic Universe film will debut, or if it would debut at all. However, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige shared that the production was still making progress. Kevin and I got to talk about his definition of the word progress. Anyway, in a new interview with Omelette, he reaffirmed that Marvel is, quote unquote, committed to Blade. Feige elaborated that they not only love the character, but they also, quote unquote, love Mahershala's version of him. Ooh. He said the following, rest assured, whenever we change direction with a project or we're still trying to understand how it fits our agenda, we inform the public. You guys are up to date with what's going on, which is nothing, but I can say that the character will indeed arrive in the MCU. So he said, we're still making progress. We love Mahershala Ali's iteration of it, and this movie is coming to the MCU. Okay. I'm going to change my tone here a little bit. I've started to believe recently, of course, that I'm starting to wonder if this thing's even going to happen. This is the biggest embarrassment. Like many studios have movies that just sit in the pipeline and they wait forever for it to come out and whatever, that some directors come and go, right? Like it happens on Star Wars every 5 days. But this is the one with Marvel. This is the one really big embarrassing blemish for Marvel about their ability to get a project together and put out in theaters. There have been other projects that have had bumps, but nothing like this. So I started feeling they're going to pull the plug on it. But you know what? I'm reading this now, and now my thought might be, they have to put this out now.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if Kevin Feige's now, instead of going, you know, look, this thing has been a train wreck. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. This project feels cursed. Let's just dump it. And I don't think at this point anybody would blame him if he did, except for maybe Ray.
Yeah.
But maybe Kevin Feige is looking at all of that and going, that just really means I got to get this thing out. Or else it's going to be this thing that hangs over my head forever. But again, Mahershala, we wondered when they announced Mahershala, a two-time Academy Award winning actor. And we loved the casting, but we said, oh, I mean, he's a little bit old to start a new franchise, but that's okay. He's amazing. It's now 5 years later.
And that's the big problem, John. Like, first of all, this is coming straight from the boss's mouth. We've had other people involved in Marvel giving us updates and, you know, giving us hope. But this is from the boss's mouth, so take that, pussy boys. And also
that came out of nowhere. But all right.
no, because I
didn't realize we were pussy boys.
The problem is the longer that it takes to release, the more, for me, and I don't do this often, I expect it to be good. That's the pressure on this film now. You make fans like me wait this long. We want something good. But at some point, I'm like, just throw out anything. Even throw out a
put
bag of
something
poop.
out there.
Yeah, something. His costume.
Just something you
His
can
costume,
fall
so
asleep to.
You know, something like that. But you know what? This is coming from Kevin Feige. I'm riding with him all the way. So let's do this. Let's get
Again,
it out.
I just got to remind everybody, I'm going to say it again. We're 5 years since they announced that this was happening, and we still don't have a script.
I mean, it is the epitome of the Bladian paradigm. So yes.
Bladian paradigm. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Kevin Feige is saying, no. Peace, my people. A Blade movie cometh. And it's going to be Mahershala Ali. And I'm just at the point where it's not like a new Star Wars movie that they announced and none of us believe it's actually going to happen. But I mean, it's been 5 years, Kevin. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got a few other things to cover, including this weekend, Marvel dropped an amazing, 4-minute long preview of the Thunderbolts. Some call it an extended trailer. I thought it was amazing. Also, Penguin had its finale last night, and oh my God, we've got to talk about it. And in one of the biggest movie marketing blunders in history, this is my favorite movie story ever. Marvel's Wicked Toys accidentally put a porn web address on the packaging for the movie. Dudes. How does that happen? We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, The Perfect Gene. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Perfect Gene. So the colder season is here, and guess what? I am living in the perfect gene. These jeans are super stretchy, soft, and totally trick people into thinking I've got my life together. And I'm telling you this because I actually love them. These are absolutely, no questions asked, my favorite jeans that I have ever owned. And yes, the folks over at The Perfect Gene are paying me to say that, but it's still absolutely true. These are my favorite jeans ever. These jeans have enough stretch to accommodate Thanksgiving dinner and are comfy enough to wear all day watching Sunday football. Plus, even though they feel like sweatpants, they look good enough to be your go-to pants for date night. And listen, the Perfect Gene isn't even just pants. They've revolutionized t-shirts as well. The Perfect Tee has just enough stretch to hide that beer belly while accentuating your arms and chest for that flawless look. My guys, it's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectgene.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use the code CAMPEA at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectgene.nyc with the promo code Campea. And after you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the John Campea Show and tell them we sent you. F your khakis and get the Perfect Gene. And thank you to our friends at the Perfect Gene for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Of course, the big fan event in Brazil is going on this weekend, and always a whole bunch of big drops happen there. And we just have so many things we have to cover today that we can't even talk about all of them. Like including a new Captain America 4 trailer they put out. We can't even talk about it. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. But I think the best thing that we saw this weekend coming out of there was this new, nearly 4-minute long, whether you call it a preview or an extended trailer, whatever, of the Thunderbolts. And it's fantastic. It looks so good. And, it's been a while. I mean, there's been so much disappointing stuff coming out of Marvel the last couple of years. It just felt like for a while, we were just always talking about, the Marvel put out this disappointing. Not all of it bad. Some of it great. Some of it just mediocre. But, they just haven't lived up to that standard that they set in the first, 10, 12 years that they were doing Marvel, right? And so, anyway, we had Deadpool and Wolverine, which is amazing. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was great. But when they announced Thunderbolts, you guys remember, I was like, really? You're going to just scrap together a bunch of B-listers? And okay, I don't think anybody's going to care about this. And then they announced the character lineup, which included Yelena, obviously. Ghost, which I thought was great to bring her back from Ant-Man 2. Don't really care about what's
Taskmaster?
I'll be honest with you, I don't really care about Taskmaster, especially the iteration we got in Black Widow. But then we have Bucky, Red Guardian, and Walmart Captain America,
which they called out in the trailer.
Yeah, what did they call him again?
Dime Store Captain America.
Dime Store Captain America.
Yeah,
I'll have you know, I was the official Captain America, and I was like, okay, that's a really cool lineup, actually. Then the first couple of previews came out, and I thought, this looks really good. This trailer was fantastic. This was a fantastic trailer. Now, look, I still don't know, none of us know,
Yeah.
if the movie's actually going to be any good or not,
Right.
but I love what I'm seeing. Because my favorite part is Red Guardian. I have, like, Red Guardian was easily, to me, David Harbour's Red Guardian was easily, to me, the best part of the Black Widow movie. I didn't hate the Black Widow movie, but I didn't particularly like it either. But Red Guardian
Yeah.
was fabulous. And in the last trailer, like just when Yelena shows up his door, hey dad, he's like, oh, very many important things and he's like trying to clean up his apartment. I love this guy. And then just the stuff they showed us in the trailer too. That is what I talk about.
Yeah.
Boom. I love this character so much. I could watch if Marvel really want to do something, if you just did a Disney Plus series on Red Guardian, I'd watch the hell out of that. I would love that. And not even like some global thing, just him trying to save like a neighborhood community center. Red Guardian's trying to defend a community. I don't know, something like that be ridiculous. But I thought the trailer's great. That whole action sequence where Bucky is coming up on the
He
motorcycle.
looked like the Terminator.
He did look like the Terminator, but even the
right
way he
there.
grabbed the gun and
Yep.
like all that kind of stuff, that looked great. And is that Bucky? That was great. Also, that shot where he gets the Humvee on the chain and then plows his arm into the
Right.
concrete, that was a pretty cool looking shot. And then now we know what happened to Avengers Tower. Valentina got it.
Yeah.
And standing there in an iconic room, so many big fights happened in here. I mean, that would be the room that Hulk smashed Loki, right?
Right.
So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. I still don't have a really clear idea about what this movie's about.
Or who the enemy is, really.
Yeah, like, I mean, look, we know we got Sentry or a version of Sentry
Right.
in this. I don't think he's going to be what they're fighting against.
But there's a shot in the trailer, if you see, they're all kind of dirty and they're all looking up towards something.
Probably Sentry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking, which gets me super excited.
Yeah, I listen, I thought the trailer was wonderful. And again, my favorite part was that opening action sequence with the cars and everything.
He's
Also,
all defensive mechanisms.
activating defensive measures, and the little
Measures.
swanky sex time music comes on, and his daughter's like, oh my God. Like, oh,
I love this scene where Captain or U.S. agent, he's like, yeah, oh.
oh shit.
Yeah, he goes beep. You know, the camaraderie between this oddball group seems it's working for me in this trailer. They're so different from each other, but yet I feel like this that they are a team already. Like they're gonna be a good for each other. I mean,
If like that's gonna be one of the big things to make the movie work, if it's gonna work.
right,
They've got to make us buy into the chemistry between the characters.
exactly. That's the word.
And you know what? Listen, while I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I didn't think it was great, but there are certainly some great things in it. But I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The main thing that they did that made that series good to decent was the chemistry between Bucky and Sam. Like that carried the show, really.
Right.
And if they can achieve that with Thunderbolts and really make us feel, they've already done it between Yelena and Red Guardian. So that part's there. Now, if they can do it between U.S. Agent and Bucky, or Red Guardian and Bucky, Yelena and Ghost, if they can accomplish that, it'll go a long way. So whether the movie will be good or bad, we'll have to wait and see. But I thought the trailer was fantastic. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think of this new extended trailer of Thunderbolts? I thought it was great. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this. So last night was the season finale of Penguin. By the way, side note, they're still referring to Penguin as a limited series. I expect at some point in the near future, they'll very subtly change the naming of it to season 1 as opposed, but that's another topic for another time.
Pull a Ted Lasso.
Pull a Ted Lasso. That's exactly what happened to Ted Lasso. They were calling it the series finale, and then very subtly, a few weeks before the series finale, they changed the wording to season finale, which led us all to believe that maybe another season would come. And now we know another season is coming. At any rate, getting on to Penguin here. The series has been brilliant. It's been far beyond whatever I thought it could be. I was expecting it to be good. I was not expecting it to be as insanely high quality as it has been. The only question left has been, can they stick the landing? Ladies and gentlemen, they stuck the landing.
Landing stuck.
Oh my God. The finale of Penguin was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Now, just so you guys know, as other weeks when we talk about Penguin, we're about to talk about the finale in some spoilery detail, okay? So we brought up here the spoiler alert. So if you're watching this on your phone, your TV, your computer, your laptop, whatever way you're watching us, you might want to mute your computer if you don't want to hear any details about the finale. And when this spoilers alert turns off, that's when you know you can unmute your machine, whatever machine you're using to watch us. Okay? Understood? Great. Let's get into it. He kills Vic.
I wasn't ready.
He kills Vic. In a moment that was, to me, very reminiscent of the ending of The Godfather Part 2.
Oh, yeah. It also bookended their relationship because he was about to do that before.
I mean, and it made, I was talking to somebody who said that just kind of came out of nowhere. And I'm like, no. If you were paying attention, Oz learned his lesson. He realized my one weakness is if there's somebody I love. Because his ma was ultimately what nearly destroyed him. The people knew he loved his ma, and they were able to use that against him. Mm-hmm. And when Vic, and if Oz had any second thoughts about killing Vic, when Vic says to him, "You're family to me,"
right,
and he kills him, and everybody will say that was so stupid. Vic was there for him. Vic saved him multiple times. This and blah 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 blah. But that just reinforces every time this series started to make you feel like you wanted to cheer for Oz, it slaps you down and reminds you this is an evil person who has a human side to him, but that human side is always overcloaked by his evil.
It's just a shell.
Like those emotions are there. He has real human moments, absolutely, but he has also chosen to let his own self-interest always override those. And even though I completely believe he has legitimate affection for Vic, that legitimate affection is why his self-interest compelled him to kill Vic, because he can't have that. He can't have that.
And he can turn it like a switch.
And he can turn it on and off like a switch. But as he's choking the life out of Vic, and Vic is pleading with him, I'm just sitting there like my jaw's open. I'm like, this can't be happening. And he kills him. And oh my God, I thought that Penguin would end with Sophia getting killed.
I did until he made that deal in the courtroom.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly.
But that moment when the camera pans in, he makes her look away the way he was making Vic look away in the earlier episodes. Thought he's about to offer right now. I was expecting the camera to then cut out to the water so you don't see her face explode. But then the spotlight comes on, the police sirens, and like, oh, that's right. This is to quote Hannibal from the A-Team, when a plan comes together and it all becomes clear that he packaged it perfectly, and he is now the king of Gotham. He's the king. And I also love that little, because everybody was asking, wait a minute, but Selena, Catwoman's her sister.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to bring that into it. Boom. She gets a letter in prison from Catwoman, from Selena Kyle, her half-sister. So what is that going to lead into? Because here's the other thing I don't want people to miss. while Sophia definitely was wronged by Penguin, killing her brother, she was definitely wronged by her father. Absolutely. Make no mistake about it. She's done a lot of evil too. How many people did she kill? By blowing up that thing blowing up an entire neighborhood.
No, because buildings collapsed too.
Yeah, buildings collapsed.
Yeah. It wasn't just the gang members, so.
How many people did she kill? I mean, make no mistake, she murdered her whole family. Granted, some of them wronged her, and maybe there was a couple of them that deserved it, but there's probably a lot of people in that family who, maybe wronged her a bit, but didn't deserve to get gassed. She murdered her own family. I don't want anybody just to lose sight of the fact that she's not some good guy who wrongfully ended up in jail.
Yeah, I mean, she's like a Cersei Lannister kind of character.
Yes. Yes. Because, even like in Game of Thrones, Cersei, when they tell her backstory as a young girl,
yeah,
you actually start to feel for her a bit. Like there were really effed up things that set her on the path that she's on. Same with Sophia, but she's still Sophia. She was literally going to have Aliz's mom's finger cut off. She went anyway. There's that as well. Also, I totally missed what was happening at the very end. As Oz comes out of the one room where he was seeing his mother, he's now, keeping his mother with him.
Right.
And he walks downstairs and then he starts dancing with what I thought was a vision of a younger version of his mother.
He snapped. But
wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was Eve. It was his girl. Who now I don't know for sure if this is true or not. But somebody mentioned at some point we see Eve's last name. You guys in the live chat can confirm this or squash this. That when we did get a glimpse of her last name, it's the same last name as Clayface's last name. Some people mentioned that. I don't know if that's true or not. But if it is, it's like, oh, is this our version of Clayface? That she doesn't have the superpower to transform, but she can make herself up to look like anything. But making Eve dress up like his mom? What's the Greek mythology? Odysseus, or was that, what's the one, the Greek tragedy where the guy was actually in love with his mother?
Yeah, where
that's some twisted stuff, man. Tell me you love me. Tell me you're proud of me, Ma. I'm like, oh my God, this is so twisted. I seriously thought he's going to start making out with her or something.
I know. I was like, what? Oedipus.
Okay. I knew it was one of those names. The Oedipus syndrome, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's dancing with her, overlooking the city. And then what did we say a couple of weeks ago? Listen, we're not going to see Robert Pattinson's Batman.
No.
And we said there were several possibilities. Like the events of the last 2 episodes or so. Like I've always been completely good with none of this stuff happening in the Penguin is justifies getting the Batman's attention, right? Mobsters knocking off mobsters, whatever. There are bigger problems for him to address. There are too many people in Gotham that needs his help right now. But we did say the events the last couple of weeks, that's got to at least get his attention. And we said we don't think we're going to see him, but we think maybe you'll hear the car,
right,
or you'll hear the music, or you'll see a boot, or you'll see the bat signal.
Yeah. Now, one thing that was
ended with the bat signal.
And a little different, though. I thought they were going to bookend with his theme, but they just kept that music going that they were listening to, Penguin was listening to, which is fine. It's fine. It was very quick. One thing, too, that I thought was really stand out was that the whole time the mother was just basically in survival mode, and she hated Penguin, and she was not the cause of his, him being a sociopath
tendencies.
Yeah. That it was really and it was this gangster that he completely idolized, who was like, we can kill him, or you could use his insanity to your benefit.
Yeah, and that's what she decided to do.
Yeah, and she kept him alive all that time, and then that was so revealing. Obviously where she's like, oh, I hate you. I just was trying to stay alive, And
you know what? A lot of times in these movies and TV shows, like there's so many times when the villain has the hero basically at their mercy and they can kill them anytime they want and they don't. You think, why don't they just kill them, right? They actually set it up so well that I thought it was actually believable. She didn't just want to kill Oz. She made that clear in earlier episodes. She wanted to hurt Oz. And what better way to hurt him than have maybe the only thing in the world that he comes close to what resembles love towards, his mother, say she hates him.
Yeah.
Right? Like there would be nothing more painful for Oswald than for that to happen. And so that made it very believable that she was dragging that out. And then, of course, he got out, of course, help with Vic, all that kind of stuff.
He also went back on his word because she said, if my mind goes before my body, kill me. And he would.
Yeah.
He's keeping her
kill me.
alive.
Although this is a little different. She's not in some hallucination
That's
state.
true.
She's in a vegetative state.
Yeah.
So I'll cut them a little slack on that. But I'm telling you, man, they stuck the landing. This is one of the best, not best comic book shows of the year. This is one of the best shows of the year. This will 100% be nominated for Best Drama Series. Well, now the question will it be nominated for Best Drama Series, or will it be nominated for Best Limited Series? We'll find out if they change it from limited series to season 1. We'll find that out, I'm sure, in the coming months.
Also, someone just said, I still think the Doctor's real, and it's very possible. But there again, he wasn't at the airport when all those guys got shot up.
No, when all that stuff was going on,
He wasn't there.
Look.
And then he was back in working at the asylum.
Just like normal.
That
He was
he
just
quit
there at
from.
the asylum. Yeah, he hadn't quit. He wasn't gone. He's just there delivering her mail and all. Again, I don't have a firm opinion because there are moments I think, oh, no, he's definitely real.
Yeah, I know.
And then there are moments that I'm like, there's still a possibility later on they do. Again, I don't know. Whatever you guys think, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you about it. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it with
very
I don't
likely
know.
real, but I just couldn't. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But anyway, what a series, what a show. I am just flabbergasted at the quality of it. And I think its main job. It has left me panting for Batman 2. Left me drooling for Batman Part 2. I cannot wait to get back into that world, although it's still probably a little ways off. But I can't believe how good it is. It's just so great, and the ending so nailed. And the cherry on top of it all was him killing Vic at the end.
Don't bet against Max or HBO.
Never bet against HBO or Max.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, it's God, what a show. Anyway, guys, we can take down the spoiler thing. Question is for you. Did you have a chance to watch the finale for Penguin? If so, what did you think? I think it's one of the best shows of the year. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. And this is my favorite story. Okay. Those of you know, the movie Wicked is coming out. It's going to be huge. It's going to make a lot of money. How much, I'm not sure, but it's going to be extremely big. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm not the target audience, not my normal cup of tea, but the previews they've showed us at CinemaCon for the last 2 years straight about this have made me go, oh my God, this looks great. Now, of course, with any movie, particularly one that might appeal to a lot of kids as well, there's going to be toys.
Yeah.
There's going to be merchandising.
Merchandise.
To quote Spaceballs. Merchandising. There's going to be a lot of toys.
Yeah.
You got your
dolls.
princesses, and all the kiddies are going to want their toys. Well, the company that won the rights to get the license and make a bunch of the toys is the very famous company Mattel. Mattel's making a bunch of the toys. Now, just for full disclosure, my wife Ann, for a good number of years, was one of the people over at Hasbro, the other big toy company, right? So my wife is quite familiar with the ins and outs and the workings of how these things, of how products go from conception to delivery. Well, little something happened. According to Variety, Mattel made these toys and they put a porn URL on the packaging. What? Here's the story. Something wicked this way comes. This is from Variety. On the packaging of Mattel's Wicked dolls, there's a website listed on the toy box. But instead of linking the webpage for the movie adaptation to the Tony-winning musical starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, Mattel's mistakenly listed the URL to a pornographic website. The film's official website is wickedmovie.com, but the address listed on the plastic packaging for the special edition dolls, created in partnership with Universal Pictures, is written as wicked.com. Wicked.com directs to a page that requires you to be 18 years or older to enter. Now, I will not bring up the webpage, but in the spirit of journalistic research, when I opened up wicked.com, they're quite a famous pornographic production company. And the very first thing I see is this big ad for their newest feature film, Alexa Loves Girls 2.
Nice.
It's like, well, maybe this is wicked. Mommy, why does Galinda look like that?
Grow up, kids. That's what Wicked was saying. Universal said, grow up already.
It's
the fast track.
the fast track to adulthood.
Wicked, everyone's gateway to that.
Mommy, why is Elphaba doing that with her
Oh
wand?
my God.
I don't understand, Mommy.
I knew you would. Why wouldn't you?
Is that her broom? Anyway,
Oh boy. Come on.
this to me is the greatest thing that has ever happened in the world of movies.
This is so boneheaded. I mean, I make mistakes, but every time we get our sponsor links and I write up the thing, I always click on the links just to make sure our promo codes are working for everyone. Everyone check out the sponsor links, by the way.
Yeah, they're not wicked.com.
And Mattel and Universal.
But we're open to Wicked. Hey, Wicked.com. If you want to sponsor us, feel free.
Yeah. Mattel and Universal are huge players in both their respective markets.
Yeah.
And for that to go through two places is just insane.
Well, here's the thing. I was talking to Ann about it, right? My wife, Ann, who, of course, was a big person over at Hasbro for a long time. And if she was on a work call, I wanted to bring Ann in to actually explain this to everybody because she's got the inside track on all this. But basically what Ann was explaining to me, she goes, you don't understand. There's like 15 different departments this would have had to have gone through. Like packaging is meticulously evaluated by several levels of management. They want to make sure every light flare, every color shade is like just the way they want it.
So
and then
it's wickedmovie.com. So that's what they should have put on
yes,
there.
it should have been wickedmovie.com as was listed in the Variety article. But instead they went to wicked.com. She goes, this was a failure on so many levels. Like sometimes you can go, I've seen people go, you had one job, but there's no one person that Mattel's going to be able to point the finger at. This would have had to have gone through several sets of hands. And I get it, wicked.com. I mean, it makes sense. That sounds like it's fine. I just look, this would have been different if it was a sports company and they accidentally licked to, like, I don't know, maybe it's a baseball bat company called Hardwood. I know. And their website is hardwoodbats.com. And instead they wrote hardwood.com, which took you to a very different website. That's one thing. This is a children's toy. You know what? It reminds me of several other major marketing gaffes. Do you guys, okay, before you bring it up, Jonathan, let me say something. Do you remember that, like a Batman toy? Kids love Batman toys, right? Who thought this was a good idea? Who thought this was a good idea for a Batman toy?
The underside shot.
And of course, comes with built to show that side shot again. The built-in butt plug.
Yeah, there you go.
Who thought this was at what point in the process did somebody not go,
Fat man.
maybe
It was an innocent time back then, let's say.
maybe this isn't the best idea for a toy. Or now, don't bring it up yet.
Oh
Wait till
my God.
Now, I lived in Saskatchewan for a while in Canada. I lived for a number of years in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I love that place. And they have like a lot of farming in Saskatchewan. So like there's an organization called Saskatchewan Pork, and their job is to promote pork. And they came up with a brilliant ad campaign. And they made this billboard all over Saskatoon. Pork the one you love. Now I get it. The idea is pork the one you love. But one could not help but driving down, and I did this. I was driving down the freeway and seeing, and all I saw was pork the one you love with a girl draped all over a guy, turned over by the meat, I guess, and a big heart making it look like an adult lingerie shop.
Pork.com.
Pork the one you pork.com.
He's about to get smoked. Or something. Or he's about to get smoked. Let's turn it around.
About to get smoked.
Canada's pregnancy rate went up that year.
He's about to get smoked.
Pregnancies are up. Pork. I love
The
pork.
one you
but
love.
geez, that's actually genius to me. I don't know if that was a great idea, actually.
Sure. I got them all going.
Do we got more?
No, there are more we could do, but we'll leave it at that. But I mean, on a child's toy for an upcoming movie, to have a website to a porno site, that's just the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Now, is there an update to this story? Are they pulling these off the shelf?
Oh, I'm sure they are.
I need to go find one just before
Yeah,
they pull them off the shelf.
Go run over to
You know what?
Target.
That'll be like, remember back in the day, Return of the Jedi was originally going to be called Revenge of the Jedi. And if you have one of the original posters before they changed the name of it, those things are really valuable. Finding one of these toys that actually has a URL to a porn site would be worth so much in a few years.
Fortunately, not many kids
Right.
look at the back of a toy and then go to the website.
Which is that same, but all those toys, they have those warnings for like choking hazards and things. It just baffles my mind how this went through. I get it. Wicked.com makes sense for a film called Wicked.
Wicked. Yeah, I yes, but again,
all of that has to pass
so
copy.
many people had to have missed it.
Right.
It's
Yeah, but also like the value of the toy has nothing to do with me. It just commemorates one of movies errors in time. You know what I mean? The value up or down. It's just a commemorative to have for me myself. I just don't know who to buy.
Well, I mean, what's that flying monkey doing to the other monkey? I don't know.
Who's a better character? Who should I buy? Let's put up a poll. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is just one of the best things I've ever seen. This is simply one of the best things I've ever seen. I love this story. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Are you going to try to get your hands on one of these toys? Like, Ray's got a point. These things will be actually worth money. Like errors on things, whether it's errors on stamps, errors on coins, errors become incredibly valuable. Maybe if you can get your hands on one of these, that'll be great. Maybe you want to pork the one you love. Guys, question is for you. Woo! Can you think of other mistakes like this? Maybe some lack of judgment in some marketing before? Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to get on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, Wicked.com. No, Miracle Made.
Okay.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made for sponsoring the John Campea Show podcast. Okay, hey, listen, I see so many people in the like, why aren't you talking about this? And why aren't you talking about that? Guys, we normally try to do about 5 topics. Sometimes we'll do 6. Today we did 7. There was just, there were like 5 or 6 other topics we wanted to talk about today, but we just did not have the time.
The nice thing is we do this all week. So tune in tomorrow.
So tune in tomorrow. You'll probably see us talk about a couple of those. Anyway, that all down, guys. Let's get over to your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
We got a 3-parter from Orlando Rodriguez, who says, okay, your comments regarding John Wick's decreased intimidation factor mentioned Friday's episode are confusing to me, as the veteran Baba Yaga of the older generation clearly demonstrated by his son's ignorance of his identity. The motivation of targeting him is unmistakable. He who kills the Baba Yaga becomes the Baba Yaga. The reward outweighs the risk, considering his previous untouchable fear the respected status. However, his excommunication has opened the door for everyone to want to be the first to kill John Wick. They don't fear him; they want to become him.
No, the movies themselves completely discredit that. They completely discredit that. The very first movie, right? When this Russian crime lord, right, hears about it, he knows he may die.
Mm-hmm.
He hits his own son for getting on the bad side of John Wick. This is one of the, he even tries to get Wick, he gets John Wick on the phone and begs to come to some kind of a deal, some kind of an arrangement. Right? Yes, you might have 1 or 2 morons that go, oh, I can be the one to take out John Wick. But in the first movie, they establish he's not another man. He's the Baba Yaga. If you cross him, you die. So I would understand a couple of guys, like a couple of hitmen going, yeah, I want to be the one to do that. But this whole underworld is supposed to fully understand, like if you watch the first movie, they make it crystal clear. He's the one guy you don't fuck with.
And then you watch 20 of those guys who are like, I'm going to be the next guy. You watch 20 of them drop like flies.
He's literally
so
killed
you're not gonna
thousands
be,
at this point.
So
right?
you're not going to be like, oh, I think I'll try too. You're going to be like, never mind.
You know,
but look, the
you know who
amount
they
of
did
money
it well?
is insane. The amount of money they're offering
But it doesn't matter.
insane.
They'll
they
die. They're going to
elsewhere.
die. You go after him, you're going to die. The one guy they did right was the Iron Chef chairman. I forget the actor's name, but the guy from the last John Wick movie. They did him right? He understands who John Wick is. He gets, and he admires him. He's like, he knows John Wick is the baddest man on the planet. And I want to challenge myself. It would be such an honor to fight John Wick. But he's one of the very few people walking the earth who would actually maybe have a chance against Wick. All these other lower level guys running around. VTech is saying no spoilers, please. Guys, this is a
spoilers on what?
2
John
or 3
Wick?
year old movie. If you haven't seen this movie by now, you're not planning on seeing
it's
it.
John
Anyway,
Wick, man. It's been out for a long time.
It's been out for a while. Might have been out for a beat. But it's like
Let's not
they
talk
did him right? Because they really believe that he knows if there's anybody who's going to kill me, John Wick's the guy to do it. So he just saw it as such an honor to go and fight him. But everybody else, all these lower level guys going, kill John Wick. Yeah. Nobody was afraid of John Wick. When in the first movie, it didn't matter who you were. The even idea of the shadow of John Wick falling on a sidewalk made you want to walk on the other sidewalk.
Yeah.
And they kind of lost that.
Well,
But the
they
dynamic-
toned it down by as it went, where it's like, well, these guys are forced to because their organization is making them do this. But like the second movie, what I had an issue was every 5th person was an assassin on the street.
Oh yeah, like
I was just like, how is every fifth person?
every third person you see walking down the sidewalk is one of the assassins.
But
Yeah.
if you look at the dynamic between the dad who got the phone call and the son, there's clearly a gap in between what they, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he wasn't
The
an
son was
assassin.
like, "Oh, we'll just kill him," but then the dad was like, "Holy crap!" This
Well,
is
that's
John.
because the kid didn't know who John Wick was.
And-
All the other assassins
Oh, right,
know
you're
who
right.
John
They were-
Wick is.
They were in that world.
Yeah, they're
So,
in that world. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's just the way I see it. All right, what's next?
We got Rushmore, who says, "Dear John, yesterday I talked about Grendel. It's currently being developed by Jim Henson Company."
Oh,
Interesting.
that's an interesting spin on it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jim Henson Company's not been the same since Jim Henson died. But, God, I can't even think about the Jim Henson Company without thinking about that Dark Crystal show on Netflix that only got one season that got canceled. That show was so good. Anyway, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with the Grendel project. All right, what's next?
All right, this happened over the weekend. Stubble McShave says, let me try to scroll down. There we go. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. Everyone should do themselves a favor and watch his command performance as the old Jake Sisko in the STDS Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, The Visitor. It's a standalone episode from the fourth season. The best hour you can spend in front of your TV. It's truly great. I mean,
Yeah.
he was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, of course, Tony Todd died a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
which was like, I mean, he was still so relatively young.
Mm-hmm.
It was really sad to see. Now, a lot of people, when they think of him, they'll think of Candyman, right? Totally understandable. I think of The Rock. I loved him in The Rock. And then recently he was one of the villains in the Flash TV series. I mean, he's just been all over the place, right? He's always had that voice, such an iconic, recognizable voice too. Yeah, it was really sad to hear about his passing. All right, what's next?
David says, "Hey John, I was curious if you watched Alfonso Cuarón's new series Disclaimer on Apple TV Plus. It's terrifically done. Sometimes hard to watch. I think Kate Blanchett gives one of the best performances in it, which is saying something. Another win for Apple."
No, I haven't watched it. And it's
Nah.
not from a lack of interest. I just haven't had the time to watch it, but I have heard really good things about it. That actually so good. I've been hearing it's also probably going to be one of the prime shows that gets one of those best drama series nominations. So it's definitely one that's on my list, but I haven't gotten around to watching it yet.
Sounds good.
All right, what's next?
Bry Guy says, "On Saturday, me and my dad checked out the Fathom Events concert, Andrea Bocelli 30, the celebration. It was quite a magical and famously show. Johnny Depp's in it. Will Smith was on stage. Russell Crowe even sung a cover of Dance the Waltz. Interesting.
Andrea Bocelli is simply one of the greatest vocalists of all time. He actually I think it was Yamava.
Yeah.
He actually just performed there
Yeah.
not long ago. I remember thinking we would drive down our highway that's by our house and we'd see these Andrea Bocelli posters. I'm like, we should probably try to go if Andrea Bocelli's singing. He's just fabulous and fantastic. And I haven't watched this special, but I'm going to at some point because I just think he's incredible. All right, what's next?
Okay, Michael Croson says, "I just realized that the actress who plays Oz's mom in Penguin is the same actress who plays Foggy Nelson's in Daredevil Season 3. Wonder if she'll pop up in Born Again for a scene or two. Can you imagine a world where Foggy and Oz interact?"
Well, I mean, they're
No,
totally,
obviously not,
they're
but-
obviously totally different things. Boy, it's a reminder of how long ago Daredevil Season 3 was because I don't remember that.
Yeah, vaguely.
I don't remember it at all.
I don't remember him having a mom in that. I mean,
That's
obviously
what
he
I'm
had a
saying.
mom,
I
but-
mean, I remember Daredevil Season 3, but I mean, I don't remember that in Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know what? I told myself there's a couple things. I need to. They dropped the first batch of new episodes for Arcane this weekend. But I mean, this weekend was filled with sports, football, Penguin. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to. But I want to watch the last two episodes of last season first. And Ann and I decided that we're going to do a rewatch of Daredevil season 1, 2, and 3 before Born Again comes out. Because we forget a lot of time has passed. It's been years since that third season. And I'm forgetting a lot of it too. So I
Yeah.
got to go back and rewatch all that. All right, what's next?
All right, what's next says, in your non-spoiler review for Joker 2, you said there's a part of the film that undermines part of the enjoyment of Joker 1 as well. Can you now clarify what you meant? You yourself say the sequels, remakes shouldn't affect the enjoyment of the original. Definitely has to do with the ending.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had to do with the ending, right? I mean, yeah, I'll say it at this point because it's been, the movie's been out for so long now and it's now available for streaming too, but just the whole thing that's look, Joker was always an Elseworld story, right? It was always an Elseworld story. It was never going to tie into Batman. It was never going to be anything like that. It was always an Elseworld story. I understand that 100%. But as an Elseworld story, watching the quote unquote origins of this version of Joker, and then his connections to a much younger Bruce Wayne through Thomas Wayne and all that kind of stuff, right? That was part of the underpinning of what made this Elseworlds mythology feel so rich. And then you get into Joker 2, which it's just a bad movie. Like, take out all the individual things they did wrong. It's just a badly done movie. It's just a horrible film. And it was a horrible film before they got to the end of the movie. Like, before they got to the end of the movie, it was already a very, very, very bad movie. But at the end of the movie, they do this thing where it's like, oh, by the way, even in this Elseworld, this was never Joker. We did 2 full movies, and this was never Joker. Now, I understand. You can say, well, John, it's Todd Phillips in an interview once said. I get all that. I do. But that doesn't change how stupid it was.
Well, just the way they did it was so quick.
Well, and
too.
the way
Like,
they did it was almost like an afterthought.
Yeah, I was like, oh, just
right?
do this because
So understanding that even in this Elseworld, that entire first movie was predicated on a lie. That even in this Elseworld mythology, this isn't who we thought it was. And all this symbolic connection to Thomas Wayne and a younger Bruce Wayne. And is this a different idea about how, a guy who would go on to become who he is, get started? It just kind of, it tore those foundations out from under it. And it, 100%, I can still go back and watch the first Joker movie and totally appreciate it. But that one thing, what's a good way? What would be a good comparison? It's like trying to go back and say, watch Shawshank Redemption. Here's a good comparison. But then now they do a sequel where it's like 35 years later, Andy and Red are still living in San Juananejo, and we pick up with them 35 years later. Only we find out, oh yeah, Andy did brutally murder his wife. Yeah, no, he wasn't wrongfully imprisoned. He actually did brutally murder his wife. That would, like, doing something like that, it couldn't help but kind of change the way you saw the original film. Like, look, a bad second film, just because it's bad, doesn't change how good an original film is. But totally changing our understanding of the previous film, that can,
because the
purposely
lens,
or not purposely, alter the way we perceive that original film
because
too.
the lens you're rewatching it under is like, well, actually, this guy is guilty.
Yeah. Fortunately, it very rarely happens. That very rarely happens. But in this case, it kind of did a bit. All right, what's next?
Send Me a Blade script says, did a triple feature on Saturday, double feature on Sunday. Well, you were busy, man.
Nice.
Long live movie theaters. I paired Heretic Conclave and Smile 2 in
Nice.
one. Okay, and We Live in Time and Elevation in the other. Those are all so different. People go to the theater this week. Fantastic movies except Elevation.
I'm sorry to hear that because that's one of the films I'm really excited about seeing. And it like totally flopped. Like you were saying it made like $1 million. $1 million. Now, granted, they did not market this film at all. They did no marketing for this movie, which was like kind of frustrating because I thought it looked interesting, but yeah, I'm not hearing all that great stuff about it. But it sounds like you had an amazing weekend, man. Well done.
Yeah, crazy.
All right, what's next?
Jarrett says, excuse me, this is no spoilers, I already read. Greetings, John and crew. First time tipper, long time viewer.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate that, man.
With the conclusion of The Penguin last night, in your opinion, which movie to TV series was the best 1-2 punch? So Rogue One and Andor, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, The Batman, The Penguin. That's a really good
Ooh,
question.
That's a great question. That's a great question. Okay, I'm going to put in third place, but although I love it, I'll put it in third place, is Suicide Squad to Peacemaker. Loved Suicide Squad, love Peacemaker. But I'm going to put that in third. I'll say in the number one spot, Rogue One to Andor. It's close. All three of those are fabulous, but I'll say number one, Rogue One into Andor. In the number two spot, very, very close on its heels, The Batman to The Penguin. And then in third spot, again, very close, Suicide Squad to Peacemaker. By the way, see, we got our first little teaser footage of Peacemaker. That's another thing we didn't have time to talk about today.
I
That
know.
coming in 2025 Max spot. Come on, maybe we'll have time to talk about it tomorrow. But that's a great topic question. I love that a lot. So that's how I would rank them.
All right.
All right, what's next?
Just going to read this one off screen because the bottom part is spoiler, but the first part is not.
Okay.
The Penguin tips $5 and says, hello, John and crew. Wow, that last night's series finale of The Penguin had me on an emotional roller coaster. WTF no. And the end, I was tearing up saying, well, that's not fair. But I won't read the rest.
And that's, yeah. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about it was like, we're all screaming in our own heads. That's not fair. But it's exactly what he would have done. And the way they constructed that is so brilliant. I am still just flabbergasted by how good this show is. Like, I just really can't believe how good this show is. And so if you haven't watched last night's episode yet, go watch it. All right, what's next?
Okay, then we got Rev Matt, who says, holy cow, did Penguin ever stick the landing? I audibly gasped when I saw Oz's final turn. The writer showrunner didn't shy away from going dark and committed 100% 5 stars.
Absolutely. Again, look, when we saw how good the Batman was and how great Colin Farrell was as Penguin, I expected that the show, and it was going to be an HBO show, I expected it was going to be good. But I was not prepared for how good. I mean, I would put this season up with The Sopranos. I would put this season up with shows of that ilk. You know what I mean? It just did a great job of really making us understand and feel the environment of which this Batman lives. And I just thought it was so beautifully done. All right, what's next?
Anonymous O'Brien says, I'm convinced that Wicked and Gladiator 2 will be the next Barbenheimer because the trick is to have two polar opposite movies released on the same day. Wicked is targeting the PG family audience while Gladiator 2 is targeting more of the male adult audience.
It's not.
I don't know if that's a trick, though.
It's not. It's not like that's the formula. And, put two completely different movies on the same day, and that will equal box office.
That happens all the time.
Barbie and Oppenheimer made big money because they were both amazing, impactful movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were able to kind of capitalize on this extra buzz of the Barbenheimer phenomenon.
Right.
But it's not like, see, that's the thing. Movie fans, we're always looking for formulas. What's the formula? Do this, and that formula equals this. And it's like, no, it doesn't. Here's a great example. You had the Acolyte singing lesbian witches.
Say more.
And then
Is that on wicked.com?
and the show completely sucked and it was terrible. And then you get Agatha singing lesbian witches. And it was great. So there's no formula. Formula does not. So putting two big different movies on the same day is not going to equal the results that, say, Barbenheimer got. But fortunately for both Wicked and Oppenheimer, or Wicked and Gladiator 2, they're both getting really good buzz. So they can both be big, but don't expect a new Barbenheimer just because it's two different movies. I mean, if they're both great, maybe.
Yeah, because, I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but like Barbie was this like cultural thing. And then you had a Nolan film, which is going to be another cultural thing. So, there was so much more to it. But
All
anyway.
right. What is next?
We got Ali Hussein who says, "Hi, John and crew. Love the show. My question is, how the hell is Sam going to defeat Red Hulk? Even if Steve Rogers was in his prime, he would not beat the Red Hulk. Love the trailer."
No. So, I mean, what's going to happen here is kind of like the way they had Unicron in the last Transformers movie, how they had, what was the name of the big space monster in Green Lantern? Parallax? I think it's Parallax.
Yeah.
Parallax.
Fart cloud.
Yeah, I don't think you fight. He's not going to fight Hulk. He's going to fight to get the thing that's going to turn him back into Thunderbolt Ross. Because you're right, Captain America cannot fight Hulk. I mean, you can fight him for a bit, but you're not going to win. So, and maybe they'll say this Red Hulk isn't quite as strong as the Banner Hulk, but still, like, he can't win that fight. But it's going to be a matter of keeping him occupied. It's probably going to be a thing where it's like, I got to fight him to keep him occupied, keep his attention on me, while at the same time, the new Falcon is trying to get this antidote serum and shoot him in the buttocks to make him turn back. Or it's going to be something like that, but you're right. He can't go toe-to-toe with Hulk, even if it's a Red Hulk. All right, what's next?
Dumb of All Fear says, "What's the maximum bet you'd place on Doctor Doom killing Wong in Avengers Doomsday?" I'd place 56-18, my entire life savings. I don't think so.
You know what? I don't think so. Because like even Kevin Feige has said off cameras, like it's kind of becoming the Wong cinematic universe. Wong is, and by the way, we saw glimpses of Wong in What If, right? The new What If trailer. He's become that connective tissue. But I wouldn't rule it out. Like if I had to bet $5, I'd say no, we're not going to see Doom kill Wong. But I wouldn't bet $1,000 on it. So do I think it'll happen? No. But would I rule it out? No, I think that's fair game. I think he might be he could be on the table. Maybe. I just think they got plans for Wong, but we'll see. All right. What's next?
Okay. My Anonymous says, "My first thought was that his age and vibe, a Bruce Willis John Wick, might feel more like Charles Bronson's Death Wish. Then I remember that Death Wish remake was one of Bruce Willis' last
I was
films.
about to say, it's funny you mentioned that. And by the way, that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis was terrible in it. It was one of those, what became an all too common thing where you could see that Bruce Willis was just kind of sleepwalking through a lot of his movies. Of course, now, today, we know about his health condition. And that may have had, I'm not saying it did or didn't, I'm just saying maybe that had something to do with the performances we started to get out of Bruce Willis the last 6, 7, 8 years. That it was just like, it just became clear, like Bruce Willis just didn't care about any of the movies he was in. He was like literally just going through the motions in all these films when we know he's a remarkable actor. And now today in hindsight, it's like maybe that had something to do with it at the time. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got I think it's like a 3-parter from Garden Variety. Just read a great trivia that felt worth sharing. What actor won 2 Oscars for the exact same performance, not the same role, in 2 separate movies? Goes on to say, in 1947, for The Best Years of Our Lives, a first time and only time actor won Best Supporting Actor. Harold Russell was a disabled vet playing a disabled vet with PTSD. The actor had lost both his hands. He was chosen as the nominee, but no one thought that he'd win. So the Academy gave Russell a special Oscar presented to him by Shirley Temple for bringing hope and courage to his fellow servicemen. But then, to much surprise, he later in the evening won Best Supporting Actor, and then he never acted again.
You know what? I love that. I love the Oscars. I've never heard that story. So they didn't think he would win, but they thought he deserved an Oscar, so they created a special one for him. But he did end up winning anyway.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And probably why, I'm going to guess, they've never done anything like that again.
I know.
It turns out he did. That's actually, I really like, that's a really cool piece of trivia. I like that a lot. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's great.
Yeah. And if you guys have never seen The Best Years of Our Lives, definitely go check it out. Send me your Blade script says, let's see, I'm going to skip over this real quick in case there's anything and I'll go back to it. We just get to Garden Variety. John, in my honest opinion, they stuck the landing. Great twist surprises that felt earned as well as a damn moment. I'm sure you've already given your thoughts, but had to chime in.
Yeah, again, like we said when we were talking about in spoilery detail, all the more shocking and crazy things they did and twists and stuff like that, they had completely established earlier in the series. And everything that happened, as jaw-dropping as it was, when you thought about it, it's like, yep, this makes sense, though. And they did such a great job of that. It was a really impressive feat.
All right. Yeah, and I don't think this one is spoiler because, I mean, it's his performance. He's done the entire show.
All right.
Penguin finale dropped my jaw. Unbelievable. Colin masterfully played Oz during his finale on the park bench. You can tell his eyes, Oz was disassociating from himself, staring into the distance and smiling. I hope Colin wins that Emmy. Do you know there's a moment I realized through all 8 episodes where it's at about 40 minutes in, I have to remind myself that's Colin Farrell. That's not, that's not what the actor looks like.
Yeah. Every once in a while, he'll say something in a certain way where it'll snap me back in and go, oh yeah, that's Colin Farrell. But like, he's so transformative in the role. I'm not going to say I hope he wins because there's going to be a lot of other amazing performances that maybe deserve it more than he does. But I guarantee you he's going to get nominated. I guarantee he'll get at least a nomination.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
Darth Campea says Thunderbolts and Cap 4 trailer were amazing. Seems like Valentina bought Avengers Tower, but cough, cough. I think someone else like Norman is behind that. In Cap 4 trailer, I suspect that was Carl Lumbly that got shot in the jail cell, and funeral is for him.
Here's the thing. I don't think Valentina personally bought it. I think the agency. Yeah, that's my guess. I don't think she, I don't know. There's not many people, even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that have the wealth to just individually buy that thing, right? So I think the agency got it. It's now like an operational headquarters of some sort. So again, we'll find out for sure. But all I know is that I am more. Now, I wasn't as impressed with the Captain America 4 trailer, but we'll talk more about that we just didn't have time to talk about it today. We'll talk about it on tomorrow's show a little bit more. All right, what's next?
All right. BMC tipped us, but it was spoiler, but thank you for the tip, BMC. Ronetta says, I'm proud of our military. I deeply appreciate your dedication, courage, service, sacrifice. We're grateful for all you do to keep us safe because today is Veterans Day.
Oh, that's right. I again, as a Canadian, I'm kind of disconnected from a lot of the American holidays, so I didn't even know. So today's Veterans Day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, on my way out, because you remember things, you forget things, you remember whatever. So I'm driving out here, I'm like, why is there no? It's like a Sunday. There's no traffic. And I was like, holiday. A lot of places are closed.
Got it. So anyway, excellent message to send in, Renetta. All right, what's next?
E. O'Neill.
In Canada, we have Remembrance Day.
Oh yeah, that makes
with Flanders
sense.
Fields. If you guys don't know Flanders Fields, you should go read it. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Just curious. Hey guys, watch the first act of season 2 of Arcane. It's great. A bit of a quicker pace, but the visuals are amazing. Did any of you guys check it out? Not season 2 yet.
No, way too busy of a weekend. I had so I did not. And you guys know, Arcane is my all-time favorite animated show. But Ann and I definitely gonna be sitting down to watch that in the next day. I mean, tonight we're going out to watch Monday Night Football, but I think tomorrow we'll finally watch the first new slew episodes of Arcane. All right, what's next?
E. O'Neill says, I know Penguin was amazing, but we cannot overlook how great Arcane Season 2 Act 1 was. Did you see it? Obviously not, but if so, please share your thoughts. The visual storytelling was perfect, almost zero exposition dialogue, all show, no tell, and super impactful. That's cool.
Again, like I said, Arcane is, in just one season, a show I had no interest in. Zero. And I checked it out, and it became, in one season, my all-time favorite animated show. That's how good I think Arcane is. It's simply next level. Wonderful storytelling. It's like the narratives are so wonderfully connected. It's so good. I cannot wait to watch season 2. All right, what's next?
Okay, Ronetta says, Team, the Penguin episode, he's pure evil, but we already know that. Oh my God, I was in pins and needles the entire episode. My heart was so broken by the end. Masterful writing, brilliant, wrapped it up perfectly. The final shot, chef's kiss.
Like, here's the thing. The show had been so good that even if, listen, a lot of shows have a problem truly sticking the landing. And that's okay. Like, the show had been so good that I had already resigned myself that if the finale isn't great, that's fine. Like, because the show has still been fantastic. They nailed the landing. They nailed it. It was just so beautifully done. It all felt perfectly connected and just satisfying. Like, even in all of its tragedy, There's something about it that felt so satisfying. And again, I'm just flabbergasted. It's going to get nominated for Best Drama Series at the Emmys. It's Colin Farrell's going to get nominated. Christine, is it Christine or Christina Milioti?
Kristen Milioti.
Kristen Milioti is probably going to get nominated as well. I mean, it was just fantastic. All right, what's next?
Okay, Sam Fisher says maybe this will lead to copy editors typing the URL into the search engine before publishing, unless the website itself hasn't been published yet.
Oh, no. Wickedmovie.com has been published.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it. Honestly, I wouldn't have given it a second thought either. The movie's called Wicked. Wicked Duck. I mean, if I was reading over it, I'm just being honest, but I'm not a copywriter. That just makes sense. Yeah, wicked.com. Okay, cool. It's a porn site. Anyway, my favorite movie story ever. My all-time favorite movie story. All right, what's next?
Justin, the CEO of cinema. Oh my gosh, welcome. Words can't describe my excitement for Dune Prophecy. But here we are talking about streaming. Less than a week away, Dune is my favorite book, and Dune Part 2 is my favorite movie, so naturally I'm ecstatic for Prophecy. Also ordered Sisterhood of Dune to read before the show. Thanks, guys.
I'll tell you what. The previews for Dune Prophecy have looked bonkers good. I'm very excited for it. I'll be honest with you. Because Denis Villeneuve himself isn't doing it, I thought, okay, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'll watch it. But these previews have been dynamite.
It's going to be full of intrigue.
Seeing Mark Strong in there, too, dynamite. I mean, I'm really excited for the series, especially it's another HBO Max series. Coming off the heels of Penguin, I'm expecting really good things. So here's hoping it lives up to our expectations, man. I can't wait for it. All right, what's next?
Tyler says we're going to have Old Man Blade in his first movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, like, I don't mean to be pessimistic or anything, but let's say Kevin Feige is right and they are going to get a movie out. We're still in 2024. Guys, I mean, I honestly think the earliest we're going to get a Blade movie is probably 2027.
Yeah, I was going to say 7 or maybe 8. I mean, we're still a ways. I could think 7 probably could be done.
I mean, can you imagine if it was 2028?
Yeah.
Like 9 years after they made the announcement.
Oh, boy.
That's like Flash kind of timeline. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, what's next?
Redeemer says, at the beginning of the year, I thought Marvel was at its lowest point with Echo, but now with both Deadpool and Agatha, along with 2 new trailers they just put out, I think Marvel is on a comeback. Am I crazy for thinking this?
No, look, I'm not going to say they have come back. I'm not going to say they have now returned to that high point of glory that we were in the Infinity War Endgame kind of. I'm not going to say that, but are they on the comeback? Yes. It's not just with the product they've put out, it's also the narrative they're building around it. Because yes, Deadpool and Wolverine, highest grossing R-rated film of all time, and their first $1 billion film in a beat, $1.33 billion. Agatha, a much bigger hit. Every single week the ratings went up, which meant the people who were watching loved it, and more people jumped on board, got better and better and better. So good for them. That's another big win. Then the Thunderbolts stuff looks great. Then, of course, they had the big Comic-Con announcement. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Dr. Doom. Boom. They have really been crafting everything well. Now, they're on the comeback. Captain America 4 better be good. It doesn't have to be a top 10 greatest Marvel movie ever. It's got to be solid. Thunderbolts has got to be solid. Again, doesn't have to be a top 10 greatest Marvel film ever made. It's just got to be solid. If they can pave the way leading us into the new Avengers films, they could be in a very good position.
I mean, if Brave New World is on par with Winter Soldier.
Oh, that might be too high of an...
but in terms of the intrigue...
Winter Soldier is like one... There are a lot of people who think Winter Soldier is the greatest comic book movie of all time. It doesn't have to be that good. Does it? Like, does it have to be like...
No, but in terms of the intrigue, and they nail that, and it's like it's taken seriously, at least. And then Thunderbolts is just fun, then, man.
Then, again, they could just be setting themselves up. Now, I'm not going to lie. I can't think of a Disney Plus series that I'm actually a Marvel Disney Plus series that I'm actually looking forward to right now. Like, I'll watch Ironheart.
Daredevil.
Yep. That's the one. Daredevil. I was intrigued by, what was it called? Iron Wars?
Ironheart?
Armor Wars.
Armor Wars.
Armor
But that was a
Wars.
movie, right?
Yeah, no, well, now it's a movie.
Yeah.
See, I was, because I love Don Cheadle. So, like, I was interested in Armor Wars, but
Yeah.
now that's going to be a movie.
Ironheart, I'm like, whatever.
So, I got to say, like, Ironheart, not all that interested in. Wonder Man, I'm not all that interested in. But I know, hopefully they can turn it around and make it great. I wasn't interested in Arcane either till I saw it, so we'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
All right. Let's see. Bob says Despicable Con Man. Let's see. Comes out top stepping on the back. So let's see. I don't know what that means. Stubble McShave says Mattel is so customer friendly that they go overboard in showing choking hazards with the URL reference. Oh man.
That might be the comment of the day. That might be the comment of the day.
Oh yeah, I see. This is because these just popped in.
Choking
So I always
hazard.
try to review these, but these popped in. So Bob says, I think this is about the penguin. Despicable con man who is ugly both inside and out climbs his way to the top by stepping on the backs of those both hate and care about him. That any sense of morality or conviction is just a TV show, right? Yeah, man. That
no commentary from me on that. No
but
commentary
just
from me.
commentary on the penguin. It was like crazy.
Yes. All right, what's next?
And then we got our members.
Great.
We got Mason who says Hugh Grant in Heretic was amazing. He'd make a great Dumbledore. I never thought of him as a Dumbledore, but maybe.
Well, I mean, look, he's just a great actor.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always loved Hugh Grant. I've always thought he was a fabulous actor. I think he's great. So he could do everything from Heavy and what's like Heretic, and then he can be the guy in Paddington too. I mean, he's really that good. So yeah, any really good actor could make a great Dumbledore. He's definitely one. All right, what's next?
Top Gun Manny says that he feels sorry for the penguin. 5 minutes later, he hates his guts. Can't remember the last time I felt so conflicted on a character. Just wow, I don't feel conflicted.
And they did that 5 or 6 times throughout the series.
Exactly.
You
And
start to feel for him and appreciate him, and then, oh, you're a piece of shit.
didn't it kind of feel like one step back, 2 steps forward in terms of like, or you
No,
could say
more
one,
like
step
one step
forward, 2
steps
steps back.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it crept through the 8 episodes.
Yep. Every time. They hooked us in every time. They make you start to get on board with him a little bit and maybe even cheer. And then they remind you, oh, you're a piece of crap.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Nalf says, I thank the Penguin for stop making villains anti-heroes. Also for really taking advantage of great actors like Farrell in comic projects. Still remember my expectations of Christian Bale in Thor and how disappointed I felt.
See, well, I'm glad they didn't make him an anti-hero. The other thing that I'm also really glad about, because very few movies or TV shows do this well. It reminds us that he's still a human being and that he has human elements to him. He can feel generous. He has the need to feel loved. He even has, in very, very rare occasions and spots, people he does love. Like, and oftentimes movies and shows, when they have a villain, they don't want to take the time to explore that. And I understand. He's the bad guy. That's all you need to know. He's bad and everything they do is bad. They don't shy away from showing us the human side of Oz. But in showing us the human side of Oz, they will then quickly show the other side of Oz and remind us of what he is. And I love the fact very few movies and TV shows do that well. And I think the Penguin just knocked it out of the park with that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Yennymore says, hey, John and crew, started watching Shrinking now after you recommended it. It's truly fantastic. Great show, though I watched it on Apple TV Plus. I saw it was a Warner Brothers production. So my question is, why don't they have the show on HBO Max? Thanks, Bring on the Filthy.
This will happen sometimes. Like sometimes you'll have studios. Okay, so to be legal, even a show that's done by a production and financed by a production company, they will have a fiduciary responsibility to its producers and production partners and stuff like that to get the best deal possible for that show. Because there have been instances where like a company will produce a show, but then not take the best offer for that show in order to put it on its own networks. And when that was not a part of the contract. And there have literally been studios that have been sued by the producers because they're like, hey, this other network gave a higher offer. We would have made more money had you done that. And instead you just put it on yours for a lower price and we got paid less. And that's not kosher. We're going to sue you. Right. So there is that. It's far too complex to get into right now in general, but that's the general thing. A lot of times, like, Shrinking was not an HBO Max production. It was a Warner Brothers television production. And as that, they have to get the best deal that they can. And in some example, like for instance, Lucifer, which was on Fox, was actually produced. I can't remember if it was Universal or by another company produced it, but the best deal on the table was for them. So anyway, that happens. It's way too convoluted to go into now. We've talked about it before, but anyway, there's that. All right, what's next?
Slarf says, hey, everyone, been catching up on some movies in theaters lately. Watched Andor and We Live in Time, both fantastic movies. Have any of you had a chance to see them yet?
I have lost my interest in seeing the Tom Hanks one. I've just heard too many not good things about it. That We're Lost in Time is
Lost
different.
in Time is Garfield, Andrew Garfield, and
that's right. And I didn't even know it came out yet.
Yeah.
So no, and Honora is not playing anywhere near me.
Interesting.
Which sucks.
That's interesting.
Because remember, we talked about it in our big movie preview that we did a little while ago, and I've been completely excited for
How many
Honora.
theaters are in this Tyler AMC?
16.
It's 16 and they're not showing that? It's so strange.
There's a bunch of movies they don't show there, man. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Let's see. Sorry, I gotta scroll down. Noise something. I'm just gonna say noise. Is it weird that rather than getting excited, I felt more apprehension after seeing just how good Cap 4 trailer was? I think you may have discussed this in previous shows that they did reshoots. Not sure how extensive, but I don't know. Lack of confidence that Marvel could actually deliver. That it gets scary. Like sometimes you can get apprehension.
Reshoots are a good thing.
Yeah.
Reshoots are a good thing. The reshoots, because they came about, and the extent of those reshoots, because Bob Chapek was no longer there, Kevin Feige was given the authority and the power again to do what he wanted with it, and he just knew that this is not our quality. We need to go back and try a whole bunch of other. We need to make this thing into something different. Reshoots are a good thing because it means that while they were not satisfied with that they had a vision for what would be better, and then they were able to go ahead and make that thing better. And so that's why I'm looking. A great example of this was World War Z, the Brad Pitt zombie film. Like they pretty much reshot that thing from scratch. And the result was actually a pretty good movie. Like I like World War Z. I thought it was really quite good. I know there are some people upset by it because it's not as good as the book. Whatever. I don't give a shit about that. All I care about is the movie good? And the movie was actually quite good because they did those extensive reshoots. So it actually gives me, again, I don't know if Captain America 4 is going to be good or not. I don't know. But I have more confidence that it'll be good because of those reshoots. So anyway, that's my kind of take on it. All right, one last question today. What's next?
All right, Callum says, hey, crew, do you think we'll see Jeremy Renner in the final Mission Impossible?
I don't think so. I think we've heard him talk about, I don't think we're going to see him in there again. I don't think we're going to see him in there again. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora.
Hey, see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
Have a good day.
My name's John Campea, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. And until next time, my friends, wicked.com.